All right, what is up, you guys? If we haven't met yet, my name is Malia, and I'm super excited to be here with you this morning. On my drive here, I was thinking, I was always a Saturday night kid. I never came on Sunday morning, so props to you. It's early every Sunday to get here and get ready and be here on time. So this series, we've been talking about taking everything to a whole nother level. Last week, if you were here, we talked about taking our generosity to a whole nother level. But today we get to talk about what it looks like to take our kindness to a whole nother level. So when I found out that I was going to be speaking on kindness, my literally reaction in my head was, oh my gosh, yes, I love kindness. And I think this is a really common reaction for us with this word and this kind of topic of kindness. I started researching about it and looking up some videos, and I came across random acts of kindness of people buying each other Starbucks and videos of babies hugging puppies. And I came across this one video of a kid who I feel embodies this whole kindness thing really well. So I just brought a clip of that, so take a look.
20 things we should say more often. Number 20, thank you. And not just on Thanksgiving, every day. Number 19, excuse me. Number 18, here's a surprise corn dog that I bought you because you're my friend. There'll be more corn dogs and more happy people. This is a good idea. Corn dog for you, corn dog for you, corn dog for you. Number 17, I'm sorry. Number 16, I forgive you. Number 15, you can do it. But don't say it if it's something I can't do. Number 14, another thing that we should say more often, I have barbecue sauce on my shirt too. Before you say something about the barbecue sauce on somebody else's shirt, take a look at the barbecue sauce on your own shirt. Number 13, please. Number 12, everything is going to be okay. Number 11, oh, you got me a corn dog too? You shouldn't have, buddy. Number 10, I don't know. I know a lot of people who need to say that. My sister. Number 9. You're so awesome, I named my dog after you. Wait. That could hurt someone's feelings. I mean boat. I named my boat after you. Wait, who even have a boat? You're so awesome, I legally changed my name to yours. Wait, that's super creepy. And just tell people they're awesome and mean it.
Okay, so come on. He is the cutest and totally kindness, right? Yes. And so I think that this kid president kind of kindness is often what pops into our minds when we think about this. So today we're just going to talk about at a whole nother level how this kindness might not be this super easy, fun, happy thing all the time. It's actually a little bit harder. So your first fill-in is kindness to a whole nother level is loving everyone, including my enemies. Kindness is loving everyone, including my enemies. So we're going to check out what Jesus has to say about this in Matthew 5, verses 43 to 45. It says, "You have heard the law that says, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I say, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. In that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust alike." It's kind of a crazy verse. Don't miss that he's changing the world's definition of kindness, which is loving your neighbor and hating your enemy, to a whole nother level when he tells us that our enemies are actually the exact people we're called to love. I know a lot of times for me when I read this verse, I kind of think, well, okay, so who are my enemies? I feel I usually get along with people and I'm not getting persecuted on a daily basis. So who is Jesus talking about when he says my enemies? The words just feel kind of intense. So enemies are anybody that's working against us. It can be people that we don't understand, people that are hard to love, people that are mean to us, people that might not love us back, or people that are just straight up annoying. This can look like a sibling, it can look like an annoying kid in math class, or a teammate that teases you. When we take the word enemies and redefine it as somebody that's hard to love, I think it makes it much easier to identify these people in our lives. So when I was in junior high, I had a friend that was like this. I really struggled loving her. She wasn't always super kind to me, and she said a lot of things that really hurt me. We were on the same soccer team and went to school together, and I was actually afraid to go to school and soccer a lot of times because I never knew what she was going to say about me. I really started to let a lot of these things affect me, and I was really hurt by her in this friendship. I think this is the exact person in this verse that Jesus is calling us to love. Not to fear them or feel like we have to retaliate against them or gossip about them or even let anything that they say about us define us. He's just saying to love them. This is not easy. It really stinks to have to love somebody that you feel like doesn't deserve it. But just knowing Jesus, it helps us so much. He's with us in our least patient and most annoyed moments. In the moments where we feel like the last thing we want to do is be kind. He is with us and he will help us. So that is your next fill-in. This whole nother level of kindness doesn't come from our own strength. It comes from trusting in Jesus. So it's loving my enemies requires trust. Looking back, I think if I would have trusted in Jesus a little bit more and leaned on his strength instead of my own when facing frustration with a friend, I think I would have felt less afraid and I would have been able to love her more. So trust that he is with you in every single tough moment. He doesn't leave your side. Trust that when you feel like you can't be kind, he's with you and he will help you. And trust that out of anybody, Jesus gets it. He knows what it's like to love your enemies, and he did it better than anybody. So now I'm going to invite up my friend Ben, who's going to share a little bit more about how Jesus brought kindness to a whole nother level.
How's it going, friends? My name is Ben, and I'm also an intern here at JHM, and I'm so glad to be here with you this morning. So Malia finished by talking about what it looks like to take kindness to a whole nother level, which meant loving everyone, including our enemies. And so it's natural to ask, why should I love my enemies? It's often something that's not the first response that we would have. It's hard and confusing at times, but there's a simple reason that we do this, and we love our enemies because Jesus did. And that's your next fill-in. So it will be, we love our enemies because Jesus did. In all things, Jesus is our example. He should be the one that we look to when times get tough or we're faced with a hard decision. And Jesus was the ultimate example of what it looked like to be kind to his enemies. He demonstrated this, we see in Romans 5, verse 8. And we'll pull that verse up. But it says, "But God showed his great love for us by sending Christ to die for us while we were still sinners." And I think the really important part of this verse, we look at that last part, while we were still sinners, and if you can, underline that last part. While we were still sinners shows that at a time we were enemies of God. There was something that separated us, and we parted ways with God. But Jesus still gave up his life so that we could have ours. The cross is the ultimate symbol of kindness and enemy love. We learned that we're called to love our enemies because Jesus did, even when it doesn't make any sense to us. Better than anyone, Jesus knows what it looks like to take kindness to a whole nother level. And we should take a closer look at this type of kindness and realize its power and the ability that it has to affect others. There's something really moving about loving our enemies. It passes our own understanding, but when others see it, it gives a closer glimpse at who Jesus is and his character. And so that's our next fill-in. Our kindness shows who Jesus is. Again, this kindness is often confusing, disorienting, and really hard to understand, but it's a kindness that others just can't help but notice, and others can't help but be drawn towards as well. We as Christians have an ability to be a light in the world, marked by patience and a love that truly knows no limit. Let's bring up that passage from Matthew one more time, and I want to read starting from verse 46. And so it says, "If you love only those who love you, what reward is there for that? Even the corrupt tax collectors do that much. If you're only kind to your friends, how different are you from anyone else? Even pagans do that." And so it's easy to ask what's with the tax collectors and pagans part. I have no problem loving either of those groups. But Jesus uses that example because in his day, those were the people that were farthest from followers of Jesus. They were oftentimes the hardest people to love. But he's saying, if you love those who are only like you, that are easy to get along with and that you understand, what sets you apart from the rest? What makes you different from a non-believer? And so in this past week, I was thinking about this. What is it that I actually do in my day-to-day life that sets me apart from someone who may be a non-believer? Where does my faith actually get played out? And I thought of a story when I was in high school. I went to Tribuco, and there was a time where I had basketball practice in about an hour, and I had some time to kill, so I went off campus to go get some food. I went to California Teriyaki Grill and got myself a beef bowl. And so it was fantastic. I finished that up, came back to my car, and started to drive off. And then once I was in the parking lot, there was a group of students walking in front of me. And so I took a second, waited for them to pass, and out of the corner of my eye, I see to my left, and there's this big red truck just kind of rolling towards me, kind of slowly. But I see out of the corner of my eye, I look over, and they're not looking at me. They're looking somewhere else. And so I see they're getting dangerously close. I honk my horn, and before anything happens, boom, crashes into me. Just hear this crunch, and my door goes inward. And so at this moment, I was a bit upset, understandably. I was, someone had done something to me, and I couldn't do anything about it. And so at that moment, I was faced with a decision. How do I respond? Do I respond with frustration and anger because this person hurt me and I didn't do anything to deserve it? Or do I respond with love and kindness? Now, when the world may say that we're justified in being angry and taking our frustration out on them, trying to make things right, Jesus says that the only response is love and kindness. And so in that moment, I found the strength to kind of come out of my car. We obviously had to go and talk to each other, exchange information. And so I found the strength to be kind to them. And in that moment, I'm sure that they really appreciated that. Not sure. But for me, I think the really special thing was that it relieved a tension in my own heart. It made me kind of free, that I didn't have to make it right and get angry at them, but rather I could find comfort in that. Here's the thing. When we love our enemies, it feels unnatural. It's something that doesn't always make sense, but it takes a little bit of power to overcome what our urges may be in that moment. But when we do, something really special happens. We become a light in the world and give a truer glimpse of what relationship with others is supposed to look like in the kingdom of God. So you may ask, how do I do this? What does this actually look like in my life? Well, Jesus is pretty clear. And we see the first verse, he says, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And the first of those is to love. And Jesus shows us time and time again that love is an action. This means not just saying and thinking nice things about other people. While that is important, it actually means acting on them as well. This could mean giving the last slice of pizza to an annoying sibling, shaking hands and congratulating an opponent after a tough loss, or something like not retaliating when someone says something hurtful or retaliates against you. The second of those is to pray. For some of you, this may be a more comfortable first step, but pray for those who sometimes mistreat you. Pray for the people in your life, like Malia's friend, who sometimes would say mean things about you and make you feel less about yourself. The truth is, sometimes they might be the people who are in the most pain themselves. God shows us time and time again that sometimes the most difficult people to love are the ones that need it the most. And so to close, let's be reminded that Jesus is the ultimate example of what it looks like to take kindness to a whole nother level, loving everyone, including our enemies. He gave his life for some he knew would never love him back, but those are the ones that need it the most. And that same patience and love has the ability to live in our hearts and minds. Your thought for the week is kindness at a whole nother level is loving like Jesus. If this is something that you actually want to try and, put into the way that you live your life this next week, something that you actually want to do and take action, we have challenge cards that are in the back. And they look like this, and they're right by the exit over there. And on your way out, you can grab those. And they're simple, really easy applications of what you can do in this next week to love people that you might not normally, or go out of your way to show others the love of Jesus. And so this one is pretty easy. It just says, pick 5 people and commit to praying for one each day. So really easy ways to kind of go out of your way and make an impact. Let's pray together. Jesus, we thank you for your love. It's often a love that is confusing and not easy to understand, but the more and more we get to know you, we see your truer self. We see your love and how it impacts us and how it has the ability to impact others. I pray that we not only receive that love, but also can show that to others and show who you are truer by the way that we treat others. I pray that in this next week you give us the strength and wisdom to implement this into our lives, and so that we can show others around us what relationship with others is supposed to look like. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.